So the idea behind this briefing night is just to provide something additional to your briefing night, which will be run by your party leader for your specific winter party. So this briefing night is just going to cover the very basic things that you really mustn't forget before you go on your winter party. So we're going to start off talking a little bit about what to expect, what's going to happen prior to the winter party, and then we'll go through our gear list and all the things that you need to bring with you. So the first thing that we need to talk about that's different from previous years is ski hire. In previous years, you have been able to book your ski hire through us on Try Bookings, and then we will tell you to go to Ajays and get your ski size. This year it's different, so for Venture Weeks, you'll still be able to use that same process, but for any other member, you have to organise your own ski hire. So there are a few different options if you're going to do this. You can still go to Ajays and still pay the same price. Just tell them what week you're attending and that you're attending with the Bogong Rover Chalet. They'll size your skis and then they'll put them aside for you. And then on Friday night on the way up to the chalet, you can go pick up your skis just like normal. You just need to manage that for yourself. Otherwise, if you want to hire skis from somewhere else, you can go to the Wilderness Shop in Box Hill. And you can also go to Ray's, which is just out of Myrtleford, or Rocky Valley Ski Hire, which is in Mount Beauty. If you go to any of those other places, you'll need to book ahead, make sure that you definitely are going to have skis, and also make sure that you get there before they close so you can pick up your skis and pick up the right size, because on Saturday it's very strict the leaving time, so you've got to be ready to go. So now I'll talk about some things that we're not going to cover here and things that your party leader will cover during your own briefing night for your week. So the first thing is carpooling. We do encourage carpooling. It's a really good way to split the driving. Everyone's tired after work on Friday and definitely tired coming home after your winter party. So if you can carpool at all, it's a really good idea. It is also quite a long drive from Melbourne or wherever you may be coming from. So definitely try and organise that at your briefing night. Other things that your party leader will introduce to you, whether it's in the briefing night or at the chalet itself, is duty groups and how these will work. And you'll also choose a theme for your party night, which is usually on sort of the middle of the winter party to the end of the winter party. That's where you all dress up and have a bit of fun. So that's all stuff that will be covered separately to this video. Now we'll talk about getting to the chalet. So before each winter party, everyone drives up to Mount Beauty on the Friday night, and we stay at the Mount Beauty Scout Hall. So anytime from 4 p.m. onwards, you'll be able to access the Mount Beauty Scout Hall, and then you stay there overnight. So something to keep in mind is you've got to have dinner on the Friday night. You might organise with your party to all go out for dinner if you're going to arrive at dinner time, or you might get dinner on the way up. That's completely up to you. Another thing that's really important is being ready on Friday night for Saturday morning. So the bus leaves Falls Creek coaches at 7:30 sharp. It's not going to wait for you. So you have to be there on time, packed with everything ready to go. What that means is you need to make sure that your pack is packed when you're at Mount Beauty Scout Hall. So that might mean bringing an extra bag of stuff that you have just for that night and using that and then leaving it in your car and not taking it up the mountain with you. It also means your breakfast should be quick and easy to eat. It doesn't mean you shouldn't have breakfast. You definitely need to have breakfast. It's a long ski in, it's cold, and for some people it will be their first time skiing. So it's really important that you keep your energy up. So for those who drive us, you will park at Falls Creek coaches. If you mention the chalet, they'll give you a discount. It's usually about $20. It may change year to year, and that's all fenced and pretty secure. So that's the best place to leave your car for the week. The night before, you'll probably have a bit of a briefing with everybody. Try not to let that night run too late. You have a whole week together to spend partying and having a good time. So get as much sleep as you can on the Friday, because you are going to be getting up pretty early on the Saturday You can't just get up and go. You've got to clean the hall and everything beforehand, so keep that in mind. And you also need to run through that everyone's got breakfast for Saturday morning, and you also need to bring lunch with you. For the ski-in on Saturday, you will not be at the chalet by lunchtime, and lunch is not provided, so you have to bring something substantial to eat on the ski-in. So now I'm going to go through my very basic what you need before you go to the chalet, and then we'll move on to things at the chalet. I have in here a sleeping bag, so you can bring just the one sleeping bag for the whole week, or you can bring two and leave one in the car. Again, with carpooling, it depends how much room there is in the car. If you've got a car with 4 people in it, maybe you don't want to bring that much extra gear, but it is an option, so you don't have to repack your pack in the morning on Saturday. So I've got a sleeping bag, a sleeping mat. Not everyone, there's always one person who forgets their sleeping mat, because you don't need a sleeping mat at the chalet, but you definitely do need it on the Friday night when you're sleeping in the hall, because there is no mats. So bring one of those. I've got a liner in here just because I use a sleeping bag liner, so throw one of those in if you use them. And I've also got a folding pillow in here. Again, you don't need to bring a pillow to the chalet. There's a lot of pillows up there, lots of different types, but you do need to bring a pillowcase. But it's nice to have a little pillow when you're at the hall the night before. So something like that's fine, or you can bring a pillow from home. Just depends how much space you have and how you get into the chalet. I've also put in a spare change of clothes, so when you get back on Saturday, you're going to be sweaty, maybe wet. You want something comfortable and clean to wear in the car on the way home, so you don't bring these to the chalet with you, just leave them in the car. Other things I have is food. We're going to pretend that this has got 2 sandwiches in it for breakfast. And then we've also got food for lunch, so something easy to eat, not something that you would cook like a sandwich again, or crackers and cheese and some fruit. So that's the sort of stuff that you'll need to bring with you when you are getting ready to go up to the chalet. Make sure that you pack your lunch in your pack, so I just have it in this bag because that's where I put all my food, but that needs to go in your bag. So I'm going to talk a bit about what to expect when you're at the chalet, and then we're going to go into the packing list and what you need to bring. So one thing to note, when you're at the chalet, you don't have reception. There is a landline phone for emergencies, but there is no internet, so you need to be aware of that. Tell your family that they're not going to hear from you. When you go out on tours, you will occasionally get reception. That's really good to check the weather and stuff like that, but don't rely on it every day. Another thing to be aware of is ambulance insurance. So you need to check if you have ambulance insurance and if helicopter cover is included. This is not, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but if you don't have it, it could be quite expensive in the event that there is a call out for you. So just check before you go what your cover is like and if you want to increase that cover or not. And then on the health topic, you also need to print out a copy of your Care Monkey or your PIR form. Like I said, there's no reception. Your party leader won't have your Care Monkey downloaded. You just need to bring it along and then give it to them. On a lighter note, another thing to bring to the chalet is cash if you want to buy merch. So we have a lot of different merch options at the chalet. If you want to see what those are, you can check out one of our more recent videos. But there's things like shirts, hats, beanies, stubby holders, that sort of thing, stickers. So if you want to buy some of that, bring cash. Your party advisor will thank you. Otherwise, they'll be chasing everyone up for direct deposits, or they might just not allow that at all. Some other things at the chalet, so you'll have 4 NOBS. The NOBS are the ones who make sure that your party runs smoothly. So your party leader, they're organising everything before you go up to the chalet, and then they're sort of in charge at the chalet. Party advisor is supporting the party leader and providing advice to all of the NOBS. Quartermaster, so the quartermaster is in charge of the food. They'll get the food, the fresh food when you're in Mount Beauty, and they'll make sure that there's food for the cooks to cook every night. And then the chief engineer, so the chief engineer does everything else. They keep the chalet running, they keep the hot water on, electricity, they check if there's a fire alarm going off, they make sure the drying room heaters are running, so they keep everything in the background going. So your NOBs are also on holiday, they're not getting paid, you need to be respectful of them, and you also need to support them throughout your winter party, and it'll make it a better experience for everybody. Some other things that happen at the chalet is you've got duty groups, so everyone will be expected to contribute throughout the week to different roles. So that's like cooking, cleaning, washing, setting the tables, chopping wood, cleaning the toilets, emptying the bins, that sort of thing. We won't go through that in detail now because your party leader and your other NOBs will cover that when you're physically at the chalet. Another thing that happens at the chalet is we have wrapped time, which is rover adjusted time, and that is actually where we move the clock forward an hour, like daylight savings, so that you have more time in the sun to get out and ski. So most mornings will be an early morning, you get up, cook, do your duties, and then you can head out onto the snow after that. Some things to be aware of when you are heading out onto the snow. So if it's a structured week and you've got beginners, the first day will be ski school, where you practice skiing techniques and you go locally and just find a hill to ski down. After that, you might run a day where everyone attends as well. That's the 3-hut tour or something similar, where you just do a small ski tour, essentially. And then after that, the party tends to break off into other groups, and you can run your own tour if you're experienced or confident in doing that, or with the support of someone else, and use our trip intention form, which will be signed by the party leader, and I'll be covered in more detail when you're at the chalet as well. Last thing for when you're at the chalet is personal items. Some people will attend more than one winter party in a season, which is really fun for them. One thing that you have to know is you can't leave personal items at the chalet. So if you're going to week 10 and then you're going to week 12, you can't leave stuff at the chalet during week 11. If you were, for example, going to week 5 and then week 6, you have to ski out with the week 5 party and ski back in with the week 6 party. In this situation, it is acceptable to leave stuff at the chalet because you're coming back on the same day, but you can't leave everything. You still have to have a day pack with all the essential gear in it. So that covers most of the stuff that you need to know while you're at the chalet. Again, the party leader will go through everything in much more detail on your own briefing night. Some other things to just make you aware of that the management committee's been working on. So we have a suggested trips list, which you can access via our website and then download locally onto your phone. And this has got probably like 20 trips on it, maps, descriptions, all sorts of really useful information if you want to plan a ski tour or if you just want to try something new. And it also talks about the difficulty level of those trips, which is very good to know. And then we've also got a food database. So if you're someone who has dietaries and is worried about certain chemicals or colours or flavours being included in the food, you can access our food database on the website and just check for yourself what food is there. But the quartermaster will also manage any dietaries. So if you have other concerns, you can talk to them directly. I'm going to hand over to Alistair now, who's going to do the packing.
Okay. Start off with the pack. So ideally you want a 50 to 65 litre pack. If you're a smaller person, obviously a smaller pack because smaller clothes and things. But that's a rough guideline. Don't tie anything to the outside of your pack. Make sure you get everything inside it. Keep, just like with hiking, keep anything that you need easy access to. Keep it accessible. So warm clothes near the top, scroggin in the top, or if you've got a side pocket, make sure to put your sunscreen or lip balm in the side. If you've got, obviously I've got my wet weather gear on at the moment, but that's also another one to make sure it's easily accessible. And your water bottle too, keep it outside the pack, don't put it in. Most packs will have a side pocket, so you don't have to attach it to anything, just put it in the pocket. I'll start at the bottom. Okay. When you pack your pack, make sure you have a liner. So I've got a fancy liner, but a garbage bag works fine. That keeps everything inside your pack nice and dry. You'll make sure to bring your uniform as well. First aid kit. Make sure you have blister kit stuff in here. Very important to look after your feet. If you don't have blister stuff, go out, buy it tomorrow. The worst thing that can happen is if you're in the middle of skiing, you get a massive blister and you've got no way to deal with it. If you on the ski-in or on any day, if you feel a hot spot starting, ask the trip leader to stop, take 5, and then you can patch up your feet. Also part of your first aid kit, make sure to have a space blanket or an emergency blanket. This is not a woolen blanket. This is I think they're normally made out of mylar or something. They're a reflective material, very thin, very light. So if for whatever reason you need to stop for an emergency and you're stopped for a good half hour or possibly longer, this will keep you nice and warm. In addition to your normal gear, of course, that's an emergency use. Make sure to pack sunscreen. There is a little bit at the chalet, but it's really important you bring your own sunscreen so that you can reapply whenever and wherever. So that stays in your day pack throughout the week. So part of your kit, you should make sure that you have some sort of reflective rope. That's really good for emergency situations. Along with a lighter or matches. If you're going to use matches, make sure they're waterproof matches, just in case. And a whistle too. Your whistle should actually be easily accessible. Don't do like what I did. Don't put it in the top there. If you've got like a side pocket, that's where it should be. You should really have a copy of the local map for the area and a compass. Again, it's for emergencies. There are a few maps up at the chalet, but they're predominantly for when you're in the chalet and you want to plan a trip. When you're going out, it's best to have your own. That way you know the quality of your map, you're familiar with what your map looks like. You're not then trying to figure, oh, where are these features? I thought I saw them. You should be intimately familiar with your map. One more emergency bit of kit is a PLB. This is your own responsibility. It's good to have, but you need to be familiar with how to operate one of these. I believe a false activation is a lot of money. So this is your emergency, your get out of jail free card. Yeah, good to have, best not to use. And of course, handy dandy pocket knife is always useful too. Now, we are still recommending that people bring COVID tests, rapid antigen tests. It's still a risk this year. It's not like it's just disappeared. So we recommend you bring 5 per person, as well as a few masks just in case. In fact, masks are good not just for COVID, but for other viruses and things. If you're feeling a bit sick, throw it on. Everyone should be well versed in how to use a mask now. Now, for when you're at the chalet, you want closed-toe shoes, something that's light and compresses nice and easy in your pack is ideal. Maybe it's an old pair of sneakers, or I've seen plenty of people with Ugg boots before. As long as they're solid-soled, you will go outside with them, so don't wear anything that can soak through the bottom. For more gear at the chalet, this is not to wear out on the snow. You can have a lovely shirt just for wearing around, and PJ pants as well, or some sort of comfy pants, again for the chalet only. Don't wear cotton out on the snow because it's actually quite dangerous. A day pack, if you can squeeze it in. A lot of people will take their hiking pack, which is okay. It's better if you can put a day pack in, because that way your hike pack can remain fully packed at the chalet in case there is an emergency. And then you can just grab it and go, rather than having things strewn all over the floor. Spare bra, if you need a spare bra. This is not something I would bring. Unfortunately, my pectorals are not big enough for that. But if it's something that you use, then definitely bring it. A spare bra, not more than one. So you should have the one you're wearing and the one in your pack. There's a washing machine there, so you can clean them each night, hang it up in the dry room. It'll be dry within 24 hours. For your bed, make sure that you bring a fitted sheet and a pillow cover. For health reasons, we need you to bring along a pillow cover. There are a few spares up at the chalet if you forget, but there's not enough for everyone. Alrighty, and of course your sleeping bag. Make sure to bring a sleeping bag. You don't need a sleeping mat in your pack. Just a sleeping bag will be fine. A 0 degrees will be more than adequate. Once the fire is going and Theo is going and everything is going, the chalet warms up very nicely, and you won't feel cold at all. Something about this size is great. So a hiking sleeping bag is ideal. If it is larger than this, it starts to impede space a little bit. So yeah, smaller is better. Spare undies and socks, probably 2 pairs of spare undies, 2 to 3 pairs of spare socks. That's all you need. Again, there's a washing machine at the chalet, brand new washing machine this year. So all your stuff should be swapped over and washed every day, and then hung up at night in the drying room, and it should be dry by the next day. So there should be no need to carry a week's worth of clothes in your pack. A UHF radio is another good one to have. Not everyone needs one of these. You probably only need about 3 or 4. These are great for the ski in and the ski out. There are plenty of UHF radios at the chalet for during the week, but they need to stay in there for the beginning of the week and the end of the week. And you're skiing or ski out. It becomes very difficult to get them back to the chalet if they get skied out. and you miss the group going the other direction, or if there is no group going the other direction. So bring your own along just for that ski in and ski out. And talk to your NOBS about that too. They may wish to be the ones bringing them along, or they'll organise it. So obviously beanie, make sure to throw a beanie in, a neck buff, throw your neck buff in. There's merch up at the chalet. We've got buffs this year, so it's okay if you don't have one. You'll probably have one within 24 hours of getting in. We have our raincoat. Make sure you have your wet weather gear easily accessible. Now this is just so this one's a Gore-Tex raincoat. Don't wear a ski jacket. You get way too hot, you get very sweaty, and then if it's wet, so if it's raining or snowing, you can't take it off, and your sweat builds up, and then you get very cold. So your sweat is what will make you cold. If you have just a spray jacket or a Gore-Tex-like material, so Pertex or Frog Togs or something like that, it's breathable, so it lets out a lot of that sweat, and it keeps you a lot more dry. A ski jacket is padded, whereas this is not padded. This is just your waterproof layer. To keep you warmer and so that you can regulate, we've got our either a polar fleece jumper or a polar fleece vest. So you can take them off if you get too hot, you can put them back on, you can put multiple layers on if you're getting really cold. You probably won't be cold for long while you're skiing, so that's why it's good to keep a bit of extra space in that pack to put your gear back in. A cap, make sure you have a cap for on those really sunny days. Sorry? Oh, yep. Chalet sells bucket hats. I don't have a bucket hat with me, so I've just got my Essendon hat. Yeah, if you do forget your hat, there's plenty up at the chalet to buy. Along with sun safety, sun smart, bring sunglasses along. Sunglasses that wrap around your head are ideal. I have prescription glasses, so I can't wear anything like that. But for those of you that are lucky enough to have good eyesight, I've been told bicycle sunnies are really good because they wrap right around your face. Alternatively, or in addition to, you can also wear goggles. For me, goggles are kind of the only choice, or the best choice, because they wrap right around my glasses. Good in a blizzard as well. So if you do have them and you've got a little bit of space, a little bit of grammage, emptiness in your pack, you can throw them in. Yeah. Wet weather gear. Oh yeah. So your gaiters. These are not essential, but they're recommended. You can get bigger gaiters that go over ski boots. And then along with your waterproof jacket, of course you've got your waterproof pants. If you like me, you can strip out of them. Underneath all that, you've got your base layer, so your thermal top and thermal bottoms, and of course your lovely shorts to just keep things a little bit less hanging out and stuff. If you some thermals are quite see-through. Yeah, some thermals are quite see-through, so having some really lightweight shorts really helps. So again, avoid cotton if you can. Bather type shorts are generally pretty good. And of course your ski socks, make sure that they come high enough that they cover where your boot will go. That just keeps things a bit more comfy. Gloves. So I've got glove liners on. It's good to have glove liners. Have one or two pairs or 2 or 3 pairs in case you soak through one, along with over mitts, some warmer gloves if you stop, and then I do waterproof. So waterproof over gloves. You can get a few different variants of this. This is just what I have, but this keeps your hand dry. Same as your raincoat, but for your hands. When you're in the chalet, personal hygiene is really important. Really gross when you have a stinky person that doesn't have their things to have a shower. So make sure to bring in some body wash and some shampoo. Little hotel things like this work well. If you can find solid shampoo and solid soap, like the little travel bars, they work even better. But something like this is fine. Deodorant, preferably roll-on, because spray can be quite offensive to some people's nostrils. Some people actually have allergies as well, so just and the fire alarm can be set off by spray deodorant. So yeah, try and get roll-on if you can. Some moisturizer. Keep some moisturizer in your toiletries, because if you come off the snow and you find you have windburn or sunburn, a little bit of moisturizer can really help there. And of course, your toothbrush and your toothpaste. Preferably travel toothbrush and travel toothpaste. Make sure to bring your travel towel, your cute little travel towel. The small ones like this are great, just to throw in your pack. A larger one is okay too, but starts to get too big and takes up a lot of room. So yeah, preferably something small if you can find it. This is one from Kathmandu, I think. Backpack sell them too, and same with Aussie Disposal, even Kmart. Yep. Yeah, gym towel. They work well. Oh, and spare pair of thermals too. I think I didn't go over that before. Spare pair of thermals. Make sure to have a secondary spare set. And again, that means you can swap day on day. So you wear your pair you're going to wear, and your other pair going to wash, and then the next day you swap over. And your scroggin. You can't forget your scroggin. Maximum 1 kilo. There's plenty of food at the chalet. We won't starve you of your lunches, or your brekkies or your dinners. There's bucket loads there. So this is just to keep you going on your tours. Lip balm, make sure to have your lip balm. Again, same deal as your sunscreen. Like an SPF type lip balm is great because that stops your lips from getting burnt. It also protects against windburn. Just reapply if your lips start to get a bit dry. Head torch. On the last day, you'll be heading out very early. You'll be heading out very early. You'll probably be leaving at about 5 a.m. ish. So make sure you have your head torch. And have some spare batteries too if it's a non-rechargeable head torch, or your recharging cable if you can recharge it. You can recharge it at the chalet. Yes, yeah. You don't want your head torch going dead on the ski out. Oh, last thing. Don't forget your costume. Your costume for your party. Yep. Not too big. So maybe one or two small props is okay, but don't go all out. Again, you don't have a whole lot of room in your pack, so just keep it sensible. For those that are adult members, you can take alcohol in on an adult week. No glass. Don't bring glass in. Be sensible with how much you pack. No more than 1.5 kilos. Yeah, no more than 1.5 kilos. So that includes the weight of whatever is holding the alcohol. Yeah. If you can't fit food into your pack before you leave on the Saturday morning, you need to take the alcohol out or cut down a little bit. Yep. Given all that, given everything in your pack, you need to make sure you have a bit of space at the top of your pack for food, for fresh vegetables and fresh meat. If you're vegetarian, we're not mean. We're not going to make you carry meat, but you know, you still need plenty of space at the top, so you could take a cabbage or probably about that much food per person. So make sure you have a decent amount of space at the top. That's about one person's worth.
Has asked, how heavy should my pack be?
No, absolutely no more than 15 kilos. Keep it to below 15 kilos. 10 to 15. So on the packing list, it tells you what things are optional, what things are mandatory. If you're struggling to fit within that 15, cut out some of the optional stuff. But with a lot of the optional stuff, it should be reasonably easy to stay within that 15 kilos. So just be sensible with what you put in. Stay within that 15 kilos. No sleds, absolutely no sleds. The only ski equipment you need to bring into the chalet is what's on your feet. So your skis, your boots, and your poles. Don't bring sleds in. Don't put anything on your sleds. Don't bring sleds at all. There's extra ski equipment in the chalet. So there are snowshoes at the chalet. There are downhill skis. There are snowboards and toboggans as well. So everything that you need for going down slopes, it's already there. All you need with you are your cross-country skis, cross-country boots, and your poles. Yep. Cool. When you're hiring, this is the kind of boot that you want. It's got this big duckbill shape on the front. You can get other kinds of bindings too, but this is the one that we tend to recommend. Very easy to repair if it breaks out on the snow. Reasonably reliable as well. There's lots of equipment, lots of places that hire this equipment. It's been around forever. On the other side, that's what the binding looks like. So for this, your boot literally just slides in the front there like that. And then it sits in And then at the back, you've got this buckle that latches closed like that. Maybe come around the other side of me. So that's your cable style binding. So the other kind of binding that you can commonly find is this style here, where it's got a bar. This is called triple N or triple NBC. The difference between triple N and triple NBC is it's a thicker bar with triple NBC. BC for backcountry. The bar clips in at the front. There's a mechanism that kind of clips in, and then you push that down to release it and let go. So there's this mechanism just here. I don't know how easy it is to see on the camera, but the boot clips in, and then there's a bit of a spring at the front there. And when you're ready to release, push down and it lets go. So yeah, those are the two common kinds of bindings. There are other kinds of bindings out there. Be careful when you go and hire cross country. Make sure to tell them it's back country, not just cross country, because there's another kind of ski which is very, very narrow. They're very difficult to ski off the beaten path. So yeah, make sure to ask for backcountry skis. They tend to be quite a bit thicker. This is probably one of the thinnest backcountry type skis I've seen, but this works backcountry. Something like this is better. This is the kind of thing that a lot of shops will rent out, maybe in different colours, but this is pretty much your go-to ski.
So I just want to go over some really important things that you should not forget about packing, which Alistair has showed us all. So no cotton when you're on the snow, as Alistair mentioned. If you wear cotton, it's dangerous. It gets wet. It's worse than sweat. Just through your clothes, because it's going to stay wet and it won't dry, and then you'll get hypothermia. So best to avoid that. You can get merino thermals, or you can get like acrylic thermals, and they'll be quick dry. The thing about the acrylic thermals is they'll smell more, so you need to make sure that you're washing them. The merino ones won't smell as much, but some people find them itchy, so that's just a personal choice. We definitely talked about this, but leave space in the top of your pack for food. It's not fair if some people leave space and others don't, and then have to carry in more group gear. Maybe, yeah, just don't be selfish. Everyone has to eat. Leave space at the top of your pack for food. We're bringing bulky things in like lettuce and cauliflower and that, so be aware of that. Don't bring a whole week's worth of clothes. You can do washing at the chalet. So 2 pairs of clothes to wear out on the snow, 1 pair to wear in the chalet, and then maybe like 3 pairs of socks and undies. A fleece or a jumper, again, not cotton, something synthetic. Or you can do a puffer as well, and then a shell jacket. So something that is waterproof, not water resistant, and something that is not padded. So it needs to be just like a Gore-Tex shell, essentially. No glass. You can bring alcohol if you're on an adult-only week, but decant it into plastic, or just don't buy anything in glass, and don't bring an excessive amount. If you can't carry it all in, you can't bring it all in. It's as simple as that. No sleds. I think we covered that. Don't bring a book. We have a library at the chalet. There's also a lot of board games, so don't bring board games in. There's a games room. It's got a pool table. It's got a table tennis table. It's got an ice hockey table. So just, yeah, there's plenty of stuff to do at the chalet. You will not get bored. You don't need to bring any books. Bring a pillow. pillowcase and a fitted sheet. This is for hygiene reasons. There is some stuff at the chalet, but not enough for everyone, so you need to make sure that you're bringing your own. Just a single bed, fitted sheet, and one pillowcase will be enough. Keep your pack weight between 10 to 15 kilos. We will be putting more in with the food, which can be sort of around 2 kilos, so don't go above that amount, because then your pack's going to start getting heavy and it'll impact the rest of the group. It's not just you skiing in, everyone else is also skiing in as well, and we're not going to leave anyone behind, so if you're slow, then everyone is slow. Make sure you print your care monkey. It has to be printed because we don't have internet access at the chalet. Keep your scroggin down as well, less than 1 kilo, and that's just for eating on tours. You don't need anything to eat at the chalet. If you have any concerns and you've got dietaries, then you can talk to your quartermaster, and you can also have a look on our website at the inventory of our pantry. One thing that Alistair didn't mention, if you're a girl, bring some pads and tampons. There are some at the chalet, but it would suck if week 13 ran out, so just bring your own, and there's bins to dispose of them at the chalet as well. Another really important thing, head torch for the ski out. I have seen people with hand torches and they put them in their beanie. It doesn't work. Bring a head torch. Please bring a head torch. Don't forget a head torch. Yeah. And also sunnies are really important. So when you're skiing, the sun is coming from up here and it's also coming from down here. It will come from the sides. It comes from everywhere. Make sure your eyes are protected. If you get snow blindness, it will hurt. Your eyes will feel itchy and it just sucks. So bring sunnies and also ski goggles if you have them for when conditions are bad. Sunscreen, another thing, really important. There is sunscreen there, but make sure you're applying, and lip balm as well. The buff is good to sort of protect you from windburn, so you can pull the buff up over your cheeks and nose, and that'll help as well. But that's pretty much everything that we had to cover. Circling back to some of the original points, this year it is different with ski hire. If you're hiring and you're not a venturer, you need to hire independently. So go to Ajays, Wilderness Shop in Box Hill, Rays in Myrtleford, Rocky Valley in Mount Beauty. Those ones you need to make sure that you tell them beforehand. You don't want to leave it that late to hire your skis. And also Ajays, you need to give them notice. Don't show up on Friday night and expect them to have skis in your size that you can take away for a week. You need to be thinking about that a month out sort of thing, booking them in, getting them sized, and then taking them when you're leaving. That's really important. If you're not thinking about your skis, no one else is, so you need to be on top of that. Otherwise, have a great week. We'll see you out on the snow.